Hello, true crime junkies. Today we will delve into the chilling tale of one of America's first serial killers, the Lady Bluebeard. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future videos. Belle Gunness was born Brynhild Paulsdatter Sturseth on November 11, 1859, in Selbu, Norway. She was the youngest of 8 children in a poor family. Her father, Paul, worked as a small farmer and laborer, while her mother, Anne, kept a small inn on the side to help make ends meet. Life was not easy for the family, but they somehow managed to get by. When Belle was 14, her father died. To help support her family, she began working on neighboring farms. She saved a portion of her earnings, dreaming of a new life in America. In 1881, her dream came true when she was able to save enough money to emigrate to the United States. She left Norway on May 1881 and arrived in Chicago in July, where she joined her sister Nellie. In Chicago, Belle found work as a domestic servant and later in a butcher's shop. It was around this time she changed her name to Belle. In 1884, she met and married Mads Sorensen, a fellow Norwegian immigrant. Together they had 4 children, 3 daughters, and a son. The family lived in a 2-room tenement and struggled financially. In 1896, they took out a loan and opened a confectionery store at 2319 South Millard Avenue in Chicago. The business was not very successful, and on January 1897, the store mysteriously burned to the ground. Thankfully, both Belle and Mads survived the fire, and they collected the insurance money. Using the insurance money, they purchased a large house at 3333 West 12th Street in Cicero, Illinois. This would become the first of many homes that Belle would own that ended up burning down. In this case, however, it was likely not a suspicious fire, as it occurred 2 months after she and her husband moved in. Tragedy struck the family when their 2 oldest daughters, Caroline and Axel, died within a few months of each other. According to the death certificates, the cause of death was acute colitis. However, it is suspected that Belle poisoned them, an assumption that would later be supported by one of her surviving daughters. On July 30th, 1900, Mads died under mysterious circumstances. The coroner's report stated that he died suddenly in his sleep from heart failure. However, there was evidence that he had been ill for several weeks prior to his death. What is strange is that the day of his death was the only day that 2 of his life insurance policies overlapped, meaning that Belle received a considerable amount of money from his death. Using the insurance money, she purchased a 320-acre farm on the outskirts of La Porte, Indiana. She moved there with her surviving children and never looked back. In April 1902, just 9 months after her husband's death, Belle married Peter Gunness. He too died under suspicious circumstances. According to Belle, Peter was trying to fix a meat grinder when it fell on his head and killed him instantly. Again, the coroner's report listed the cause of death as accidental. However, all was not well in La Porte. In 1906, one of Belle's foster daughters, Jenny Olsen, implicated her in the murders of her husband and children. She claimed that Belle poisoned them and then set fire to the house to collect the insurance money. After making these accusations, the girl disappeared. Her remains would later be found on Belle's property. After Peter's death, Belle began placing matrimonial advertisements in newspapers across the country. She wrote, "To man, good-looking, middle-aged, society, some means for companionship and business proposition. Reply full particulars, experience, references." A number of men responded to her ad and traveled to her farm. On April 27, 1908, Belle's farmhouse burned to the ground. Firefighters found the bodies of her children and a decapitated woman in the ruins. They were unable to determine the woman's identity, so it is not known if she was one of the men who responded to Belle's ad or someone else entirely. Some believe that Belle faked her death in the fire and disappeared. while others believe that she was killed by one of the men she lured to her farm. Over the years, several men and women have come forward claiming to be Belle's daughter. However, none of these claims can be substantiated with DNA evidence. Excavations of Belle's property uncovered the remains of at least 14 individuals, though some researchers estimate that she may have killed as many as 40 people. What do you think happened to Belle Gunness? Was she a serial killer, an innocent woman who was the victim of a series of unfortunate events, or something else entirely? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.